welcome back to Phenomenology Club. I'm Buttress, your wise and benevolent host, hailing to you from New Jerusalem. How are y'all doing out there? Happy belated Thanksgiving. Also, something I thought of right before I came on here. When the hell was winter solstice? Let's look. Oh, didn't it happen yet? God damn. I was thinking in my head that perhaps it just happened on the 21st or something. It feels like winter out here. It's not technically winter yet, as I've just been made aware from my Google search, but let's be real. It feels like winter out here, especially, I can't speak for everybody, but I would say, especially, I think, if you're like me and reside on the East Coast or in another colder part of United States of Triple K, America. Damn, sun's going down earlier. It feels like it's fucking late at 4 p.m. Gotta say, don't like it. And I'm no fan of the sun. But I have to say, maybe it's just this year, all of the happenings of this year. I'm kind of missing the sun right now. I've never been huge on winter. Like, you know what I love? As far as length of day goes, I love summer. I love waking up late in the day, 1 p.m. or something, and still feeling like I have a ton of daylight left. You know what I'm saying? New Jersey privilege. Where are you from, Maxwell? New Jersey privilege. What, do you wish that you lived in a colder climate? I will say, too, if this is the idea you're alluding to. Hold on, I'm peeking. Let me turn myself down a bit. Sorry, people. Oh, you live somewhere even colder. Okay. I was going to say, I do think, even though I complain sometimes about the cold or whatever, I honestly prefer living somewhere like New Jersey where we actually have like snow and shit. Because as somebody who has been to the West Coast, like Los Angeles during the winter, it's weird, I have to say. It's probably not weird if you're from that area, but as an East Coaster going over there, it's weird because I'm wearing a thick jacket, like a winter coat, and there's palm trees. That's just strange to me, you know? Like, growing up, the only time I ever saw palm trees was when we were on some sort of a vacation to a warm climate. Like, it's almost more depressing to see tropical greenery when it's cold out and you're wearing a winter coat. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. Let's keep the streams separate. Speaking of streams, welcome to this live stream. Let's start with announcements like we did last time. First of all, I'd like to say again that we are trying to do these every Sunday unless there's a reason I wouldn't come in here. Especially those of you who aren't in our Discord, be aware that Sunday is our live stream nights, and I try to always do them at 9. Oh, actually, someone asked me to add them. Let me do that real quick. Kingsley, shout out you, Kingsley. Thank you for listening. Just added them in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, these will happen every Sunday at 9 unless something happens, in which case I will post about it on the Patreon. I think I've been a little more consistent with doing these every Sunday around the same time. Thank you all for listening. Hello, Angel. Quick announcements about the Discord. If you didn't see, some of you might, we have like 600 something members in our Discord. I assume some people who don't post in there are technically members, they just don't post. I wanted to say, if one of the reasons you don't participate is because of this constant influx of notifications and shit, I just made a roles channel where now you can manually add or remove yourself to a notifications group. The idea being that you won't just be getting constantly bombarded with announcements from our Phenomenology Club Discord, because we do make announcements often and I want people to be able to cater to their own interests, okay? So that's my announcement. Hi, Lex. Hi, Yuck. Look at everybody in here. How y'all fucking doing? Don't recognize Eyes Yellow Jacket. Woot. Hello, welcome. If you're new, welcome. Adriana, welcome. I love the winter but hate it, says Adriana. It has more feeling and always feels like cigarette mood. Are you a smoker, Adriana? Not sure how I'm pronouncing that. I haven't had a cigarette, not to brag, but I'm bragging right now. I haven't had a cigarette for a little bit over 2 months. I think it's been 2.5 months. I'm feeling pretty good. I can't lie. I've been shredding consistently. Feeling pretty good. Definitely recommend quitting smoking to any of you trying to. But honestly, like, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have quit smoking. I think I've said this before. I probably sound like a fucking broken record, and I'm sorry. I just, like, I didn't plan on quitting smoking, you know, especially I'm young. I might not be young compared to some of you fucking Zoomers, but I'm pretty young. Like, I figured I'd at least smoke for another decade or something. It's not a big deal, especially if you quit when you're young enough. I'm probably such a bad influence right now, but seriously, science backs me up right now. If you quit when you're relatively young, your lungs can regenerate, and the idea that you will get lung cancer is like statistically, I mean, the possibility of getting lung cancer is like statistically insignificant if you quit before a certain age. I think before the age of 40 it is, because most people don't get a lung cancer diagnosis, I think, until they're like in their late 50s or 60s. From the studies I've read, if you quit before the time you're like 40, then you're fine. So I wasn't planning on it, but then, you know, with COVID, this fucking respiratory illness killing people our age, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna feel like such a fucking beta if I get COVID and die because I'm a smoker. You know, if you get COVID and die for whatever other reason, fine. But something I have control over? No, that is not the way of the Chad, and I am a Chad. Real Chads don't die if they can't help it. So this is what motivated my decision. And if any of you need advice... Who said Coomer in the chat? If any of you need advice, honestly, just like quit cold turkey. That's my advice. Because I think this is now the longest time I've quit. And the other times I tried the vape. I tried, well, this wasn't really an approach, but I ended up getting Black and Milds and just smoking them constantly. You just gotta, like, not even go in that territory. Just stay away from nicotine, in my opinion. This has been the most successful for me so far. Anyway, what other updates do we have? The Discord. Not all of you are in the Discord. That's fine. That's great. We're gonna be here every Sunday. Great. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, yeah. We've been Twitch streaming. I've been Twitch streaming. Join our Twitch. Subscribe to our Twitch. Twitch.tv/Phenomenology Club. I have been exclusively playing this game called Friday Night at Freddy's. And it is scary, okay? This game is scary. Do you guys know this game? I know the members of Phenomenology Club know this game. This game is scary. And I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. Somebody, Monica, I believe it was, who I think ate some mushrooms. Monica requested that we talk about Friday Night at Freddy's, and I think I'll talk about it for just a second, because actually the more I meditate on Friday Night at Freddy's, the more I feel like there is actually so many philosophical kind of considerations you could make when thinking about why exactly this game is so scary. And actually, it's very relevant to the things that we've been discussing in the past few live streams. This idea of anxiety and waiting for what happens next. I think in the last live stream, I was talking about it, finding this Kierkegaard quote. Let me find it one more time. I'll read it. Oh, God. If I was one of these, like, dedicated YouTube channels, like Cuck Philosophy or something, I would just make, like, a whole half-hour-long upload on, like, Kierkegaard and Friday Night at Freddy's. Good thing I'm way too lazy to do that, and I also don't care. Kierkegaard anxiety quote. Okay. Okay, wait, hold on. I need the whole quote. Well, damn it. I can't find the whole quote, but it's from when Kierkegaard says that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. That's what we were talking about in the upload. So this game, Friday Night at Freddy's, for those of you who don't know, basically, it's an incredibly simple setup. You are playing the game from the point of view of a security guard, and you're sitting in a security office that is incredibly creepy and looks kind of abandoned, which is suspicious because what the fuck? Why am I even working security at this abandoned place? And you only have a few options as the player for movements. You can only move to the left or the right. There's a door on either side of you, and you can turn on a light or shut a door. And basically what this game is oh, and you can also look at the security cams because you are a security guard, right? So you work at this pizza place that's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, and you see these animatronics in the back room, and you're watching them, and as you go back to the security cameras, you notice that these animatronics are starting to move, and some of them even disappear, and then you'll see that they're standing now in another fucking room. Basically, these animatronics can fucking walk around, and they're scary as shit, okay? It's terrifying. And you have a very limited amount of power each night. You have to survive 5 nights. Basically, what happens is the animatronics eventually make their way to your door, right outside your door, and you have to slam the door in their fucking face. Otherwise, they'll kill you. And there's a lot of jump scares and shit. Well, I don't know if they'll kill you. I don't know what happens. They don't show you after the jump scare, but it's pretty clear that they have bad intentions. But anyway, this game, I think, is so scary in a way that relates to this Kierkegaard quote, because it's like you're constantly, it's like having, what am I trying to say? It's like you're not directly responding to anything happening at any given moment. So much of the game, you are just waiting. And in the game, each night is 5 hours. Your shift is 5 hours long. I believe it translates to like 1 minute per hour in the actual game. And sometimes you'll be clicking through all the security cams, going back and forth, wasting all of your limited electricity before you realize the animatronics haven't done shit this whole time. I am the one that is wasting my electricity for no reason. I'm doing this all on my own volition because of my fear and my freedom to do all these things and my paranoia as I just sit here. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and it's kind of bugging me and making me upset. I'm not going to talk about Friday Nights at Freddy's, by the way. This is just my little anecdote. I would have to think about this more because I'm not even sure that the Kierkegaard application is working here. I'm interested in knowing what you guys think. But I feel as if I'm getting frustrated with why I'm so upset and I'm so scared of this game still, even though I've played it now for, I don't know, a few hours. Each time I play it, it doesn't get less spooky. I feel like a lot of it has to do with this idea that, like, I don't, the expectation builds differently each time I play, you know? The sequence of events is always slightly different. It's never exactly the same, even though you know that all of the jump scares are going to be somewhat similar. You know what's coming. You know that the animatronics coming to the door. You know the animatronics are going to start walking around. It's just this waiting, the building of tension that I just can't seem to overcome the anxiety it creates within myself. I think I've talked about this before, how I get this crazy anxiety when I'm forced to wait in a line. I don't know if anyone can relate to this. When I have to wait in line at like a Rite Aid, especially if I'm like geeked on the A word, which I won't say anymore, any sort of stimulant, if I'm like geeked out of my mind, or if I'm high, or the deadly combination of both, being geeked and high, waiting on a line at like Rite Aid or a gas station, I will just get so much panic. The anticipation of waiting, just for some reason, is so anxiety inducing. What is it about waiting that creates so much anxiety? Also, the closer an inevitability approaches, like I remember driving to my mother's house for a Christmas party, I believe it was last year, and I was on a ton of A word. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening. I don't think she is. I was on a ton of A word, and I didn't sleep a lot, and it was like at the height of my A word addiction. Well, I've had many I don't know. Never mind. But I was driving to this party, and the closer I got, for some reason, I was getting more and more anxious. I felt like I was going to have a fucking heart attack. The closer I got to the Christmas party. Why? Why is it the closer you get to the thing you're working towards, you know exactly where you're going? It's a fucking Christmas party. Why does it create so much anxiety the closer you get to it? It's similar to waiting in a line. At the back of the line, it's like, whatever, okay, I'm chill. But as it gets shorter and shorter, as you know that you're getting closer to the cashier, it's like, why am I so fucking scared? Meanwhile, if there was no line at all and I could just walk right up, pay, and leave, it would be fine. I think it also has to do with being inhibited in your movement. Like in a line, you have to stay kind of still, which creates anxiety, especially if you're worried about your own body and what kind of responses you're going to have to what's going on around you. Like if you're on drugs, the longer you stand there, I think the longer you're like, oh, what if I have a seizure? What if I fucking pass out? What if I start foaming at the mouth? Especially with COVID now. It's like, what if I end up going to the hospital because I have some sort of weird drug response and then I'm going to get COVID and I don't have health insurance? I think when you're just standing there, it just gets weirder and weirder. Like Shannon just said, you have time to think about it. Exactly. What is it about waiting that is so anxiety inducing? I think that this is something we should be thinking about and perhaps have a conversation about another day. What do you guys think, though? I'm reading these comments. Angel says, as a teenager, I realized I was better than everyone else at standing in line. Can you extrapolate on that, Angel? I'm jealous. I don't even know if I believe you, but I'm jealous. Elfo says, here's an autism thing. If I don't have time to mentally prepare for an event, I'm 100% more anxious. Like, I need to know where I'm going and for how long when I leave my house. That's very interesting. That makes me think about a conversation we were having recently in the Phenomenology Club Discord about what is the purpose, quote unquote, of dreams. Because many scientists theorize that one of the purposes, quote unquote, maybe it's better to call the usefulness of dreams, is this idea that you're running through and mentally preparing yourself for and acclimating yourself to various hypothetical possibilities so that if they play out in the real world, you'll be better equipped to handle them, you know? What do we often dream about when we're anticipating something? I don't know if I can relate to this, but it's definitely a trope in media and shit, you know, where like you're anticipating a big event, then you fall asleep and you have a dream about something terrible happening at this event. The event going terribly wrong, you know. I don't know how common this kind of a thing actually is. I don't feel like I actually tend to have these dreams, but if this is true, it seems to work with this theory that dreaming, the usefulness of dreams is kind of to mentally prepare yourself for, quote unquote, different emergent possibilities in your real life for when you encounter them. You know, if you're scared of public speaking, then maybe if you're on stage giving a speech in your dreams, you could make the argument that perhaps this kind of a thing helps acclimate you to this event so that when you have to do it in real life, it will be easier. But who knows? This is just one theory out of many. Scientists really don't know what the fuck dreaming is about, period, which is really kind of funny when you think about it, because we do this thing every fucking night and nobody knows what it's about. Everyone's just kind of like, well, that's weird, you know? What can you do about it? Shit. It almost makes me like angry at myself sometimes when I think about dreaming. I'm like, dude, I feel like dreaming is so strange. It's so ever present, and I think about it so little that sometimes I wonder if I'm being hypocritical in how little consideration I give to thinking about what the fuck dreaming is, period. I think I've kind of become resigned to like not wondering, because it's like, dude, I don't fucking know. I feel like I need to like go get a neurology degree if I'm going to have any sort of interesting thoughts about what dreaming is, you know? I don't know. I don't know. Alpha says, remember that time I dreamed I was naked with a bunch of people in a locker room and I'm the only one with pubes? That sounds terrifying. How did that work out for you? I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Wow. Wow. Anyway, let's stay topical for a bit. Let's be topical. Let's be topical. I don't really have I didn't really come in here with a game plan necessarily, but I like the trajectory that we've been on the past few weeks. I feel like we've been discussing ideas of purpose, period, an idea that I think is really philosophically complex and interesting to think about. What even is purpose as a concept and how we use it, and is it a useful concept, period, and how we apply it? Can we optimize this concept? Ideas about where we should be going with our lives, if anywhere. What even is this feeling that we should be going somewhere with our lives? Yada yada yada. But let's be topical this week, because I don't really know where to continue with that trajectory. I've been thinking a bit about, well, a few things. For one, Thanksgiving happened. How do you guys feel about Thanksgiving? I don't know if I just have like mental fatigue from COVID and shit, but like I said happy Thanksgiving to a few people. Even though I feel like in the past I just wouldn't even do that, you know, because I'm definitely one of these Thanksgiving cynics, like fuck Thanksgiving, you know, it's just like a racist holiday. Which it is. I absolutely still believe this, but like it's like this year I was just kind of I'm just kind of cooked by COVID, and I was just like saying happy Thanksgiving to people, like, bro, I don't care. I'm thankful to be alive. Fuck it. Like, fuck it. I don't know. And a few people were kind of like tried to start the conversation with me about like you know, how we should make it Indigenous Peoples Days and shit. And like I think I agree, but I also was thinking about how like I kind of am into, to speak of aesthetics, I'm kind of like into how all American holidays, when you think about it, are really kind of fucked up and dark. Like, what are your guys' favorite holidays? My favorite holiday, personally, is Easter, because I just find it to be so fucking creepy in this really aesthetically interesting way. Like, what is Easter aesthetically? Literally nothing is like Easter. To talk about the other holidays, you know, I guess this would also be true of Christmas. Christmas has its own very unique and extreme, I guess you could call it, aesthetic, in that there's nothing like Christmas. Christmas has its own very specific aesthetic markers, holly branches, the Christmas tree, all of this shit. But you could say that, like, even Thanksgiving and Christmas seem to have a lot of overlapping kind of, like, ideas, you know, like sitting around the table and being thankful and hugging people and making, I don't know, wearing sweaters and shit. I just feel like Easter stands out in this really strange way. Easter makes me feel like I'm taking acid during the day. You know what I'm talking about? People who trip, you guys know that a day trip is so much different than a night trip, you know? Tripping during the day is a thing that personally I can't really do anymore, because I've tried it a few times and it's too scary. I can't do it. It's too weird. Everything becomes like the Wii loading screen. It almost feels like you're dead. It's like purgatory. Everything's like the grass is swaying peacefully. The sky's blue. It's just weird. It's weird. It feels like there's like this hidden layer of death under everything, but on the outside, there's this beautiful sunny veneer of things being okay. That's how Easter feels to me. Easter is like fake nice. It's scary to me. And I love it. I love that. I feel like Thanksgiving is a little bit like that too, you know? like all of our holidays, what I'm trying to say, they're all kind of like that. And I'm kind of at the point right now, and again, I'm cooked by COVID. I'm totally cooked. But I just kind of was like, fuck it, whatever. All our holidays are fucked up. And you know what? Maybe I'm thankful too. Which is something I would never say, because what the fuck is being thankful? I posed this to the Phenomenology Club chat on the day of Thanksgiving. What is being thankful? I've never liked this concept, being thankful, because it's always discussed from the abstract. Like, people don't say, I'm thankful to Cammy for bringing me soup when I was sick. They say, I'm thankful. I live every day thankfully. I'm just thankful. I'm grateful. Like, to who? To what? It's just thankful and grateful in the abstract always. It doesn't make sense to me. Thankful needs to be a relative term, or else it doesn't make sense, right? Because it makes perfect sense when you say, I'm thankful to Cammy for bringing me soup when I was sick. I'm thankful to my parents for lending me $50 so I could go to the DMX concert. I'm thankful to whoever for whatever. But to just say I'm thankful in the abstract, what does it mean? It means nothing. At the same time, and this is why I say I'm cooked, at the same time, I understand the concept and I actually kind of relate to it. So let's talk about it. What is this? This feeling of being thankful. Thankful to who? Where do you think it stems from? And what is it? And should we try to preserve anything useful here? Is there anything useful here? Because I can relate to this concept, even though I know that it's philosophically absurd. This feeling of gratefulness, especially amidst a thing like COVID, where so many other people are really fucking suffering right now, whether from the disease itself, whether from homelessness caused by unemployment. There's all types of reasons for you to feel as if you are lucky, quote unquote, in a sense right now, compared to other people. So first of all, I'll pose this question to you all. Do you all relate to this general abstract feeling of thankfulness? Just yes or no. Tell me. Do you relate to it? I want to take more astronaut pills, but I really shouldn't. I'm kind of geeked right now, but this is my problem. This is why I'm a stimulant addict. I'll be geeked and I just want to keep going. Okay. We're getting a bunch of yeses. I'm counting them. We got a yes, 3, 4 yeses, 1 no from Angel. Yuck says, gratitude feels really good. Shannon, thankful for PC. Aw, Shannon, but that's not abstract. That's specific. I'm also thankful for PC. But in the abstract, this general feeling of thankfulness. Ryan says no. Angel and Ryan say no. Have you ever related to this feeling? Alpha says no, but that's probably a personal thing I need to change. Why do you think that that's a thing you would need to change, Alpha? I'm interested. I try to interrogate myself. Okay, Ryan. Ryan says he's more than thankful. Thankful does not describe. Okay, so you're just like way into the thankful spectrum, so we just can't even comprehend how thankful you feel. Seneca has a good quote about it that you're looking for. Okay, cool. I would love to read that. Alexander says, being thankful in a broad sense only really exists as a comparison point to other people because other people have it worse off. Alexander, that's actually a great point, I think. I think we should really consider that. That's a great point. This idea that the only reason you would truly feel quote unquote thankful is if you're looking at your life through a comparative lens and understanding that all of the things you possess that other people don't, you are benefited for possessing them, because I literally just said this a second ago. I feel thankful in the abstract, partially because, and maybe wholly because, when I think about other people, especially with COVID and shit, I think like, wow, I really have it good. The fact that I can come home every day to an apartment with electricity, no matter how small, no matter how dirty, no matter how full of mice and other fucking rodents, no matter what, I'm so lucky. I didn't say it's dirty. Did I say it was dirty? I didn't say it's dirty. Look, I'm trying to say how thankful I am for this apartment. Jack thinks I'm shit talking the apartment. I'm very thankful. Thankful in the abstract. I'm very glad, I should say. Perhaps this is the feeling that I'm describing. I feel very fortunate. Even though I don't like this concept either, but I feel very fortunate, for lack of a better word, that I have somewhere to come home to that is safe. Shannon, Steven is a rodent, you said? No, he's not. Fuck. Steven, don't listen. Don't listen to them. Shit, you guys are so rude. Steven's not a rodent. Maybe he is. What's wrong with being a rodent? Fuck. I need to not look at the chat. Anyway. I think he's a cousin of rodents. Anyway, I feel very glad and fortunate, and maybe the correct word is also privileged, that I have somewhere to come home to every day. And yeah, other people don't have that. So if this wasn't true, if we all existed on equal playing ground, so to speak, if everybody lived in the same apartment, everybody had the same access to healthcare, let's say we all had the same health, which is totally impossible, but just to entertain a hypothetical, then do you think this feeling of thankfulness would exist, period? Because I think Alexander brings up something really interesting, and it seems true at face presentation. This idea that without comparing yourself to other people and other people's situations, the concept of being thankful and grateful in the abstract might not exist at all. What do we think about this? Evelyn says, what about being good looking or thinking you're not good looking? What about that? I don't personally subscribe to ideas of pretty privilege, if that's what we're going to talk about. Don't even get me started on pretty privilege. I don't personally think that exists. I think being good looking can absolutely afford you certain opportunities that being quote unquote not good looking might prohibit you from. At the same time, I think the opposite is true. Like, depending on your sex too, it can have much different consequences. Like, being hot and really smart as a woman, like, if you're hot and super smart, then you'll probably only really be seen as hot and your intelligence will be doubted. If you're ugly and super smart as a woman, I think you may have a better chance at being appreciated for your intellect because you're ugly. You know what I'm saying? So the whole concept of pretty privilege doesn't work for me, just because it's like there's too many variables to consider that are always changing depending on what we're talking about. Pretty privilege, therefore, I would say, is a relative concept, Maybe it will help you get more OnlyFans subscriptions, but it might also get you more likely to be sexually harassed, you know, or have your intellect doubted more, or whatever. All of this, whatever. But anyway, to go back to thankfulness. Angel says, maybe thankful for being given something is relief at not having something taken away. Shannon. Angel, maybe thankful for being given something is relief at not having something taken away. I think that's likely pretty accurate. I think Alexander really nailed it on the head by saying that ultimately it's kind of a comparative concept, right? That's what I would say. Sorry, I'm just like over here thinking. I'm over here staring at the chat and thinking. I think that's a really, really poignant concept. So then what is this concept and is it useful? Do you think that we should integrate it into our philosophical worldviews? Because I feel like people too often, I mean, there are people who abuse this concept, in my opinion. I mean, they say it all the time. Like, wake up every day and I'm grateful. Wake up every day and I thank the universe. Wake up every day and I just, like, you know, I'm always humble, always thankful. Like, it's definitely seen as some sort of a virtue and a thing that you should always, always be. Thankful and grateful in the abstract. And that, I think, is probably not a very reasonable way to live your life, because you might be guiding yourself down some sort of philosophical pathway that could end somewhere bad, simply because it seems kind of irrational, you know, being thankful to the universe. I don't know. At the same time, I almost kind of relate to this concept because for myself, something that I always go back to no matter the situation is this idea that, like, at the end of the day, no matter how unpleasant certain facets of existing may feel in whatever moment, I'm actually so thankful, quote unquote, to have gotten to experience the world as a human for this brief period of time, because life is very short, you know. No matter what, it's pretty fucking cool, I feel like, that I get to exist here among all you beautiful people. At the same time, there's really no such thing as me not existing, so it seems kind of fallacious to even feel thankful, quote unquote, or grateful, especially to the universe, for me existing, you know. It just seems silly. I relate to the feeling, but what is the feeling? And is the feeling being created by faulty ideology? And how much should I care is the question. How much should I fucking try to weed out this concept? Is it hurting me? This is the question now. If we agree, because maybe a lot of us do agree, that perhaps this concept is not necessarily useful, perhaps this concept is kind of philosophically treacherous, perhaps this concept has no demonstrable value, do we think it's dangerous? Is being thankful or grateful in the abstract potentially dangerous, and why? Let's ask that question. What do we think? Evelyn says, how could it be? I don't know, Evelyn. That's what I'm thinking. If I had to think about ways in which this could potentially be dangerous, I think about what even made me go down this line of questioning in the first place, and why I'm skeptical of concepts like thankfulness. And not long ago, before I was cooked by COVID, I would kind of roll my eyes at people who like say happy Thanksgiving, or I'm thankful for existing, or I'm thankful for this or that in the abstract, without explaining who they're thankful to and why. Because I do think that, especially coming from a Christian background, there is a danger, in my opinion, of attributing things that happen in your life to some sort of passive external forces. But maybe, I don't know if I really think this is dangerous, but just to explain what I think could potentially be dangerous about this, the idea that you're kind of starting to chalk things up to fate in a certain way. When you're grateful in the abstract, you're grateful to the universe, you kind of fail to thank yourself and be thankful to yourself, I think, when you deserve the thanks. You know what I mean? I feel like this can be dangerous, because if you live your life in a way where maybe you feel as if things can only happen to you, you cannot actuate change in your external world. Even though I think both of these things are totally true, depending on how you choose to look at it. I could choose to look at the world and say things happen to me, or I could choose to look at the world and say I happen to the world. And I don't personally know which is better, but I think when you say that you're grateful and when you're thankful to the world, you're assuming the more passive of these two and saying that I exist in the world and things happen to me. And I don't want to assume that role uncritically. Like I just said, I think that perhaps this is a more rational way of looking at the world, but I don't really know at the moment, so I'm not going to resign to that role. So I'm not going to say I'm thankful or I'm grateful in the abstract, at least without a disclaimer like this 40-minute diatribe I've been on that I don't know how I feel about this concept. I'm not going to just say these things uncritically. I'm going to at least think about them. Even if I come to no conclusion, which I doubt I will right now. Like, I think that it's dangerous to assign these ideas that, like, something can there's something to be thankful for. Like, it almost insinuates that, like, fate is real or destiny is real, and therefore you have a reason to be thankful, you know? You kind of do come into that feeling a bit. You kind of internalize ideas about luck and fortune and goodwill. Even if you can sit here and explain why you don't believe in any of them, you just think it's nice to say why you're thankful. Who knows how that's influencing you in other ways? You know what I'm saying? Gideon says, what you're talking about is causality. Possible. Alpha, I know people who talk about being thankful constantly on Facebook are generally the kind to be homophobic because religion. Yeah, Christians definitely use this language a lot. And not just Christians, but spiritual people, I've noticed. People who are just into whatever, astrology, whatever kind of spiritual stuff they're into. They love these concepts. Grateful, thankfulness. Definitely. Angel says, is standing in line the same fear as opening a gift wrapped gift? We're back into the standing in line fear thing. Alpha, also being thankful makes some people complicit. Yeah, true. Yuck says, you don't have to be comparative to be thankful, although you can be. That's like saying you could never fall in love if you never knew about hate. Yuck, I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's very interesting. Let me read that again. You don't have to be comparative to be thankful, although you can be. That's like saying you could never fall in love if you never knew about hate. Yeah, Yuck, but I think it'd be more like saying you can never fall in love unless you know what it's like to not be in love with someone, right? Like, you can only be in love with somebody because you're not in love with other people, right? Otherwise, you would be in love with everybody, and you would be in love with no one at the same time because you're in love with everybody. I think that that's what being thankful is kind of akin to as a relative concept. Like, you know what it's like to be thankful because you know that you could have it worse, you know? To be aromantic. Uh-oh. Gideon, I'm grateful for ice cream. I'm grateful for the brilliant individual that designed the swings. And I will commemorate these otherworldly minds every day till I die. Wow. Evelyn, what about things that we cannot control, like being born without arms? Well, I think it's not a coincidence that Christians especially love these kinds of concepts because, you know, to be born with arms and not to be born with arms ultimately would be a thing that you would chalk up to someone like a god. And a lot of people use this kind of language specifically around people with disabilities. Like, you'll even from more secular understandings, people who are born with certain disabilities, other people will say about them, like, well, it was for a reason. Because you were born with no arms, now you can show all these other people and what it's like to live in a world and overcome this hardship. And I'm thankful even for the fact I was born with no arms because now I can show other people what it's like to be strong in the face of this obstacle, you know? I don't know. It's been 45 minutes. I think that we've had a lot of good questions here. I think that it's very interesting, and it might seem trivial to other people, but not to us, because we're all big-brained in here, and we take astronaut drugs, and this is the shit we like to think about, especially because we recognize the importance of language here and of concepts and what... a concept like thankfulness or gratefulness, you may feel as if it doesn't come up often in your life, but like when you really think about it, I think that these kinds of ideas are really kind of ever present, you know? They're worth interrogating. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I implore you to continue thinking on this, and if you feel as if you've had any sort of revelation, share it with us, whether on this YouTube video or in our Phenomenology Club text channel in the Phenomenology Club Discord. I'm not going to get out of here right away. Carlos, actually, in our club, asked me if I would share some thoughts on Black Friday, and I'm going to attempt to do that, even though I don't even feel like motivated in the slightest to do this. No offense, Carlos. I've never thought about it, so let me scroll back to your prompt and see what you asked me one more time so I can attempt to answer this for you, because it sounds like a fun challenge, because I have no fucking idea. I've honestly never really thought critically about Black Friday, so let's fucking do it. Here we go. Here we fucking go. Thankfulness chapter closed. Let's talk about Black Friday, which is relevant because it's sequential. We talked about Thanksgiving, now we're on to Black Friday. So Carlos says, I want your take, please, in a non-normie condemning way. Not just like, oh my god, society is falling down. I want to understand how Black Friday is the answer for broken dreams and broken hearts. Why specifically only on that date it feels so good to browse the big business websites? Like a replacement to what you should be seeking for. What is that? I don't know. Huh. What do you guys think about this? Ryan says he has a ton of insight about this. What do you guys think about Carlos's question? Why specifically only on Black Friday it feels so good to browse the big business websites, like a replacement to what you should be seeking for? What is that? I don't know. But in a non-normie condemning way. I wonder what you mean by that, Carlos. I assume when you say like normie condemning way, the way you could talk about Black Friday, it would just be like, of course there's going to be typical like Fight Club adjacent takes on like consumerist culture and everybody's living a lie and being swayed by capitalist propaganda to just be mindless consumer zombies. All of these things are likely true, I guess. But I don't know if I can even relate to this idea. I mean, do you guys do Black Friday shopping? I did look around on Black Friday a bit, but I didn't get anything. Every time I've ever tried to go shopping on Black Friday, I don't feel like the deals were good enough, But maybe they would be if I was looking for something specific. I don't know. Ryan says it's all part of a consumerist system that wants to find more potential economic growth spurts during targeted and guaranteed times of year. Well, ooh, Jiff, that's really interesting. Jiff says Black Friday just became a thing in Canada, like kind of recently. That's really interesting, Jiff. Like, how recently? And how did you notice? Why are you saying this? Like, did just commercials start happening all of a sudden for Black Friday or something? That's fascinating. I'm gonna take more astronaut pills even though I'm not tired. Fuck it. Let's go. I do have to say, I don't know about this Black Friday question. I wish I could ask. And Carlos is from Mexico. Carlos, if you're here, I didn't even think about that. Like, Jiff says that Black Friday became a thing recently in Canada. Has it always been a big thing in Mexico? Is it even a big thing in Mexico? Or are you just like tuning into American internet on that day? I never even thought about that. Like the differences between countries. But I will have to say, over quarantine, I do feel as if I am starting to kind of fall into the trappings of the typical consumerist mindset where you feel as if you need to acquire more and more stuff to be kind of happy, for lack of a better word. I do feel like I'm kind of starting to understand that mindset because it is like this endless void, To give an example, because when quarantine hit and I realized like I'm not going to be going anywhere for months and months, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be stuck here. I need to make my living space more aesthetically pleasing. I want to feel more comfortable in the space that I spend all my time. So I bought like I don't know, I created wall dividers. I bought the materials for that. I made that. I bought a new little couch and got rid of my old one. I bought a humidifier, which was actually a really worthy investment, I have to say. And actually has benefits beyond just, like, looking cute. But I bought a bunch of shit, like, for my apartment. And it seemed like the more that I bought, the more I was like, oh, I need something else. Like, oh, now I need a rug to match the couch. Oh, now I need a shelf in the bathroom. Oh, now maybe I need a different color like soap dish or something completely arbitrary where like not long ago I really didn't care about any of these things. So that's something interesting to think about. Like, why is it that the more you seem to spend, it's like the more you do it, maybe it's kind of like a thing like gaming, It's like the more you do it, the more you want to do it. Maybe Maybe because it feels like you're kind of almost building something, depending on what it is. Maybe subconsciously, which is a word I also hate. Maybe it feels like there's an end goal and you can reach it and you're getting closer, so you keep spending, But then you realize, like, oh, there is no fucking end goal to any of this. Like, my apartment could just keep getting cuter. There is no end to being cute. There is no fucking end. And when it's as cute as possible, I might just want to revamp it entirely and do a whole different design. There's no end to this game. The same would go for anything else you could buy, I imagine, a wardrobe, even a setup like a workspace. Like, it seems like you could just do infinite variations of anything, so there's really no ending to spending. It feels like a game. But about the Black Friday thing in particular, I think that what's that fallacy? The sunk cost fallacy? No, that wouldn't be applicable here. I'm just thinking, like, maybe purchasing things on Black Friday feels especially satisfying simply because it seems like a rational decision, right? I don't think I'm answering your question at all, Carlos, and I'm sorry. But if I just had to pull shit out of my ass, which I'm doing right now, I feel like when if something's on sale, why wouldn't you get it on that day, right? Especially if it's something that you really wanted anyway. If you wait till Black Friday and it's 50% off, then yeah, shit. I think it makes sense why it would feel so good on that day. But I don't think I can completely relate to what you're asking about. I'm not sure I totally understand it. I've actually never really shopped on Black Friday. I almost bought something yesterday, but it was something I wasn't even going to buy. So I was like, why am I going to buy this just because it's Black Friday? No, I'm not buying this. Also, I get a certain satisfaction just from almost buying things. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. Like, I love shopping online and, like, putting it all in my cart and then just being like, nah, never mind. I feel like I got all the things, you know? Like, it almost feels like a game, like an online game. Like, I'm shopping online, I got it, and then it's like, nah, I don't want that. I'm good. So, shit. Sorry, Carlos. I don't think that I answered your question at all. Maybe somebody else had something good to say in the chat. I don't know. A lot of people are chatting it up in here. Let's see what people have said. Ooh, interesting, Ryan. Your brother does therapy for people addicted to games. You should help us. Yuck says, I feel that Black Friday is the way lower classes, i.e. all of us, can feel like they actually have buying power for once with their meager amount of disposable income. That's interesting, Yuck. That's why I love thrifting, you say. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I'm somebody I'm, like, pretty fucking poor. Like, I'm surprised that I have spending money in quarantine. I feel like I've only recently had any kind of spending money. Like, I was, for years, like, I just, like, don't even, like, I have to, like, look for quarters to go buy food. So, maybe I'm just, like, such a new consumer that I don't even know. I'm still poor, but, like, I don't know. Quarantine, is helping, honestly, in a weird way. Because, well, I'm not going to get into my personal finances. So I don't know. Gideon, I have no classification in economic, not even in something class, but marketing and sales is correlated to the psyche of the stock market. Gideon in here talking about Bitcoin. That's like window shopping, but online, says Alexander. Yeah. Yeah. Even sometimes in person. I mean, not with COVID, but I'll, like, put a bunch of shit in my cart, you know, and be ready to get it. And then I'm like, nah, never mind. But I still kind of feel like I got it. Like, the fun was had. Just visualizing myself having the item. Like, it's like, great, I have it. Great. I feel satisfied. Maybe it's like a dream. It's like the same thing. I'm visualizing myself with the thing. Gideon, voting with your wallet is underrated. That's very true, Gideon. That's very, very true. Don't get me started about that. Especially in United States of Triple K America, we're so hypocritical when it comes to, like, the boycotting thing. We're, like, so inconsistent. I can't stand us, you know? Like, I've seen people, like, cancel other people on the internet for purchasing a thing or for playing a show in Israel or something. But meanwhile, when it comes to talking about like climate change or something, the conversation will instantly turn to like, well, none of us actually have any sort of control over anything. Like rich people control everything. We can't actuate change when it comes to climate change, so we shouldn't be held accountable for anything. Like, okay. And why are we always boycotting people who play shows in Israel and shit, as if the reason Israel is such a problem is not directly due to the fact that the United States and Europe props them up in the Middle East to serve our imperialist agenda. So we're the problem. So you should be boycotting the American economy. You want to boycott the Israeli economy, that's fucking fine. But what about the American economy? And also, why are you always fucking boycotting like Radiohead and Lana Del Rey? Why don't you boycott like fucking Windows or any other company that makes a ton of money in Israel? You know what I'm saying? You people are so fucking hypocritical. It makes no fucking sense. And why don't you boycott these big ass companies that you're blaming for climate change, because you as an individual apparently have no control over literally anything except when it's fucking convenient, you know? It's all bullshit. But let's not talk about that. Or we could talk about that. I don't know. We've been going for an hour. I feel bad. I'm just like I'm just on astronaut pills. Shit. Y'all are talking in here. Love it. Black Friday makes people more broke, says Ryan. Yeah. I mean, to talk about, like, not having money and shit, it definitely is more expensive to be poor. Like, I don't even want to say, we're behind a paywall, so it's okay. I don't even want to say how much money I owe Easy Pass, because Easy Pass, for those of you who don't know, is, I don't know, some fucking corporation that, I don't get it. They're not a government run business, but they collab with a government business and basically control the tolls in the New York, New Jersey area. And like, if you miss one toll, which is like $15, for example, to go into New York City, it's $15. They're all different prices, but they're really expensive and getting more expensive. If you miss a $15 toll, now all of a sudden you owe them like $75 and then late fees. Like, it's just crazy. So if you don't have $15 one day but have to make it into the city or whatever, you get a $75 fucking charge, and then that just keeps building because you can't pay that, and then you just like, the charges just keep accumulating until you're thousands of dollars in debt, and then they fucking pull you over and suspend your registration. So then if you get pulled over, you get your car towed. Now you owe that money. You have to get your car out of being impounded or whatever. You got to pay legal fees. It's bullshit. Being poor is so expensive. Or like the fact that, you know, let's say you need some work boots. You get some shitty work boots and you need to replace them in a month. So what? If you're buying $30 work boots because you can't purchase the $80 ones, you can't afford it, you're actually spending more money by constantly replacing your work boots. You never have $80 at one moment in time. You only have $30 once every few months, and you end up spending way more than the person who just has the $80 up front. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's designed to keep us down. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'm just talking about nothing right now. Thank you. It's been 1 hour. Sorry if this wasn't as thematically strong as the last upload. But, you know, I'm staying consistent. I'm staying on schedule. I'll be here every Sunday at 9. Some of them will be great and some of them will be weird and whatever. Thank you for coming as always. And I'm going to go hit up the Discord, see what's going on in there tonight, and shit. Fuck it. Stay tuned. Stay in the Discord. Stay alert. I'm gonna keep working on the website. I got a lot done this week working on the Discord. Been working on the website, updated parts of that, but I have to finish that. Shit. We're doing good. We're doing good. Stay safe. Wash your fucking hands. And I'll talk to you all later. See you next Sunday. Oh, give me a thumbs up, please. Thumbs me up, please. See y'all next week, the latest, but maybe sooner, okay? Good night.